welcome back to episode 28. Oh, I like that better. 28. Boom. I am the Turn.
I am the Bark.
And we're going to be here a long time. This is our last episode for the school year. Not our last episode ever. We've definitely agreed, and we've signed a multi-billion-dollar contract to keep recording these. And by multi-billion, I mean
Monopoly money.
Yes,
Monopoly money.
exactly. We've been winning the game of life as well. If everyone can just hold on, I'm going to go run around the block, and I'll come back with $200. So we sent out some questions on Instagram. We just threw it out there if anyone wanted anything answered. So you'll notice, I want this to be clear, there's no for content. This is just Turn Bark time. So we're going to address some quick answers, or we're going to talk about these really quick. So the first one goes to our assistant superintendent, Mr. Nick Bergman. He asked what really happened on the grassy knoll. I think some kids rolled down the hill and they enjoyed themselves, or Jack and Jill dropped a pail of water. I don't know. He's actually referring to the JFK assassination. So Barker, real quick take. What happened on the grassy knoll?
Well, if you believe the Watchmen comic book series or graphic novel, it was the comedian. But it could have been Jimmy Hoffa. It could have been, who was it? Hoover. Could have been the aliens, man. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
That would have been great if you'd had that picture right when you put it. That just pops up again.
So I went with bare bones production tonight.
No, that guy shows up everywhere, though. No, so I've been to, it's really cool. If you ever get a chance to go to Dallas, I highly recommend going to the JFK Museum. It talks about everything that he did as before his presidency, during his presidency, and then when you get up to the top of the museum, it's so you basically start from the highest point and you work your way down to where the assassination took place. And it's actually, you can't look through the window that the guy shot through. It's all glassed off because it's still technically a crime scene, from what I understand. And so it shows how the books were stacked, the boxes were stacked, the rifle, and everything like that. And you kind of work your way down. So again, the thought is that the grassy knoll, people shot JFK from across. And again, you have people say it was the FBI, it was a hit job for them, it was the Russians, it was people who didn't like him, but whatever. So, Mr. Bergman, grassy knoll, my answer is we may never know, and I know that's a terrible answer. But as a good teacher, I will always say that I will accept new information and change my opinion as it comes.
As they release it. My dad, when I was in Longview, my mom brought out, my dad has a comic book that is the life of JFK in a comic book.
Oh, really?
So it was made after his death. I think it was only it was 12 cents when my dad bought it.
That's awesome.
I left it there because I didn't have a good place to put it because I don't have my new room yet. So. Oh,
I bet that's worth tons of money too, which is crazy. All right, the next one is going to be a series of conspiracy theories brought on by Mr. Frost, Mr. Phil Frost, that teaches at the high school. Don't worry, he teaches PE. Oh, that was a shot at him. So the first one was, do we think that aliens live at Area 51? Is the government hiding them there? I'm going to throw out a wholehearted yes. And I think it's actually the government saying that they're holding aliens there, so people think it's just a conspiracy theory and they don't follow up on it. And that we really are, that's where we have our extraterrestrial communication.
The counterpoint to that is it's just where we make all of our really cool new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to think, where do we get all the really cool new stuff? Do we really make it, or do we just borrow it from some other people, from some other places?
Yes.
But Mr. Frost, definitely, maybe.
And he will argue with you that it's a definite yes. Hold on, I got to pull it up again. I want to say...
Eisenhower.
Yeah, 1954. Is it February 20th?
The dentist.
Yeah. Yeah, Ike and Alien Ambassadors. February 20th, 1954. Again, I think we've talked about this on the show, actually. But just so you're aware, this is a story that actually ran in the Washington Post back in 2004.
Wapo?
But basically, Ike was at a meeting in he was on vacation in Palm Springs. where he had to make a trip, a night trip out. And basically, when the press asked about it, he was getting an emergency dental procedure. But when they originally asked the dentist who supposedly did the procedure, he was like, no, I didn't see him. And then the next night at a party, he was like, oh, yeah, I saw Ike. We did this dental procedure. And so the thought is that technology has grown so rapidly since the 50s, and our ability to create these things, right? You talk about like the first computers being built filled warehouses and to run like computers. Whereas now we have cell phones that are tiny and can basically run themselves. Where do we get that information? The idea is that President Eisenhower traded the right for aliens to keep abducting people for more technology.
We signed a treaty with the spacemen.
Yeah. So again, Frost, definitely maybe. I'm sold on it. I think that's a real thing. So I'm gonna stick with that. The next one, again from Mr. Phil Frost, who teaches at the high school. Don't worry, he teaches PE. One more time.
Love you, son.
Yeah, is Tupac alive? Currently. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it out and say yes. I think Tupac is living in a tiny chalet in Austria. He's just hanging out, like where they filmed Band of Brothers, and Dick Winters goes out and swims in the lake. I think Tupac's just hanging out there, and everyone just leaves him alone.
With Elvis and Michael Jackson. It makes total sense.
Yep.
If you're a musician or an artist, your stuff is more valuable once you're gone, because then there's scarcity. You're not making anymore. So, I mean, it's really, if you're going to be an artist of some sort, I mean, unless you're a movie star, I guess that's like kind of the exception. Yeah. But like a musician or like a painter, you really don't make money until you're dead. So, I mean, why not fake your own death? Huh?
I said, please don't die, though.
Yeah.
So
it's a legitimate business strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Later on, ask Van Gogh. The last question is also by Mr. Frost, which is, did J. Edgar Hoover conspiracies, which again, you have a bunch of them. I focused on the idea that J. Edgar Hoover, who was the original director of the FBI, did he order a hit on John F. Kennedy? I'm going to go out and say I don't think that's true. So.
Blame somebody else. Blame Castro.
Yep. Amen to that. So that is the end of our questions that we got. So you'll notice again, now we can change our screens back to for content and actually have kind of the end of the year conversation. So if you're an 8th grader watching this, what a year to be in 8th grade. I mean, that's all we can say. It's been an absolute roller coaster. And I don't know about you, but I remember sitting there and like schools around the country starting to shut down. I was like, no, we're not going to shut down. It'll be fine. Kids are like, what if we shut down? I was like, nah, it'll be okay. We're not going to shut down. And then all of a sudden we're getting the email on Wednesday, or we got it on Friday. Did we get it on Friday?
Or was it a Monday?
I thought we got it on a Friday saying it was shut down and that we would have the 2 days the following week.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I think we got an email on Friday, so it would have been March 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th. So March 13th, we get an email. Oh, yeah, it was Friday the 13th and a full moon, I'm pretty sure. We got an email that basically said, hey, we're for the safety of our students and the community, too, we're shutting down, Quincy School District. And I could have never thought, if you'd have told me at the beginning of this year that I would be teaching from my home and doing the best I could to come up with lessons and things like that to teach the kids online, I would have called you crazy. But here we are.
We TRF'd that Friday, and the kids were, and I jokingly kind of said, like, hey, this could be your last TRF of the year. And they're like, yeah, man, whatever. And then, like, when we were, like, getting that stuff, and it says, we're at least taking a break until, like, spring break. And the kids were going and cleaning out their lockers. I was, like, adamant. I'm like, treat it like you are not coming back, because if you don't come back, then you're okay. And if we do come back, you just bring your stuff back. And lo and behold, it turned into a journey into uncharted space.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, what do you even call it at that point? So just kind of some end of the year stuff for everybody. I got this idea from Miss Holmes. She posted a checklist for her kids, and I thought it was really awesome. So, number one, how are you doing? Okay, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Like that's like the most important thing you can do. Be there for each other and support each other. You can see that this is working. There are numbers out there that are now saying the numbers are growing back. So make sure you're wearing the mask in public and things like that. I mean, that's what I would encourage you to do as your teacher. So one, take care of your family. Number two, Barker brought it up. Is your locker cleaned out?
Remove your stoof.
Yeah. If yes, mazel tov. You did it. Great work. If not, gross. Call the school. Figure out a time you can get your sandwiches out of your locker. Because, I mean, I know how much you guys care about food and how often you put food in your locker. So.
On the flip side, if you have a book that belongs to us, either a textbook or a library book, please return it to us. Give us a call. Let us know you have it. And I think you can just drop them by the office, is what one of my students said.
Yep. So there's that. Let's see. So that was 3. 4. Have you signed up for your classes next year? 8th graders, you are registering for high school. I believe I played golf with Mr. Trevino, one of the counselors, the other day, and I think there's about 25 of you that have not signed up for classes. If you can't sign up for classes, like something's gone wrong, call the high school, try and figure it out. If you can't call them, right, try and get a hold of Barker or myself. We can get emails out to them. We can call them and try and get you guys scheduled.
Let's see. Have you guys turned in your work to the best of your ability? So keep in mind that we're doing the grades are A or I. That's not by our choice. That's been dictated to us. And it's essentially we have to judge, did you do the best that you could have based on what your circumstance was? So if you haven't, if you're concerned about a specific class, like maybe you're in algebra, contact your algebra teacher. Double check. Don't leave anything up to, kind of up to chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also one of the big things, like for my class, like one of my classes that I teach English, and if you have Miss Holmes for English, you're writing senior letters to yourself. This is an amazing time to document like your life and things like that. And I get to mail mine out because I didn't get them to my kids in time for graduation. So I looked up their most recent address, threw a stamp on it, and dropped it in the mail. So hopefully they've opened those and are enjoying them, what they wrote to themselves. Get those letters. I know there's a box out in front of the school that says senior letters. Drop it in there. If you're typing it up via email, type it and then send it in the email subject line saying this is my senior letter. So teachers aren't reading them. We just print them out really quick, put them in an envelope for you, and put your name on it. So you have that. But make sure you get those. I'm telling you right now, because this is one of the coolest stories that I have. I was a senior, and we got out of school on a Wednesday, and we were graduating that Saturday. And it was a half day. I had all my stuff done, all my fines paid, whatever. And I pulled into my driveway at home in my 1989 Honda Accord, baby. That car would go 0 to 60 in like 20 minutes. It was awesome. And I opened up my mailbox, and inside was a self-addressed envelope from myself to myself. And I opened it, and it was my 6th grade letter. When I was in 6th grade, I wrote myself a senior letter. And it was so incredible to read. And I was such a dork, and I'm still such a dork, but I was a big dork in 6th grade. And I wrote all about it, and I still have that letter to this day. It's really cool. Do not miss the opportunity to write yourself a letter.
It's the closest you're ever going to come to being in Back to the Future.
Seriously. The dog from the Old West, but he's alive!
I think the rest of the stuff is kind of personal. Like, make sure you have fun this summer, and then try and make a plan to read. Reading is good for you. I mean, I know you guys are opposed to these, conglomerations of pages put together in a softer hardcover called a book.
Yeah.
Or Libro.
That's it. I'm sorry, it's a bad word, but there's the book I'm reading about hope, but you can't read the bad word in it.
I read the majority of my books on my phone.
Yeah.
Right? On the Kindle app. And even if you don't have any money, there are a number of books that are on Kindle for free.
Yep.
They're in the public domain, and some of them are considered to be classics. So jump on Amazon or your preferred book provider and look for some of those free books that are out there. Find a way to better yourself.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones that when you look at these books and stuff like that, like get an audiobook. I mean, I think there's audiobooks out there that are for free too, and they'll read them to you, you know, and something like I've been listening to books as I take my dog for a walk, right? Like, I mean, you can listen to music and stuff like that, and that's fantastic, but it's also nice to do that something. The other thing you do is try and find a new hobby. I'll give you an example. I bought this because I was like, I need a musical instrument that I can play that's easy enough to play. And so this is my Native American flute. It's super expensive, so don't try and plan on buying one because I don't know why I bought one, but I think they're fun to play. So this is the Sparrowhawk in the key of A. And I'm just going to play a little ditty because I've just been practicing, so it's a little terrible, right? It's because my hands are backwards, but that's okay. Yep. So do some things to better yourself. Doesn't have to be musical instruments. It could be whatever, right? And just work hard and understand that we're coming back to school in the fall. We're going to the Chris Reichdahl has basically, he's the superintendent of public instruction, has said that if at all possible, he wants school in person at some way, shape, or form. We don't know what that'll look like. We hope that will be in person, right? Because we miss you a ton. But I hope that you're kind of ready and that we can get back to our normalcy of school, or attempt to. So
you guys miss being at school, you miss each other, and a teeny tiny little bit you miss your teachers. And the normalcy of coming to school and getting to see different adults than the ones that, you know, live in the house with you, whether they're your mom, your dad, your stepdad, and somebody's, I don't know, whoever buys your chones is what I always say. But, you know, nobody prefers learning online. There's the very small minority of people are like, this is terrific.
Yeah.
I can sit at home and I don't have to wear pants and go to school. So, you know, everybody wants to be back in school. Everybody wants that, you know, we want athletics to be back as safely as possible. When, I mean, that's kind of the asterisk hanging over everything, is as best as we can do that's safe for everybody involved.
Yeah. And that's what it's going to come down to is just, can people be safe and can people follow the instructions that are kind of given, right? Like you're hoping that everyone has the best interests of everyone else in mind, right? And trying not to be selfish and focus on our community. But at the same time, you got to do what's right for you, and that's the decision you're going to make. So, let's see. I mean, lastly, the last thing is, especially 8th graders, like, if you ever need anything from us, like, feel free to reach out. We're always here for you. We love getting visits from old students. We love hearing from students. You know, I got a random email like throughout the year where kids just like, hey, Turner, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing well. How are you? Like, you know, I mean, that's what email is for. It's nice to have it for school purposes, but it's also nice that you can just reach out and talk to people too. So, I mean, that's kind of the gist of everything that we got. So I miss you, and this year was weird, and hopefully we don't have to go through anything like this again. But I mean, 'tis what it is.
Yeah. That being said, you guys might have to, if you want to reach out for me, you're going to have to reach a little bit further. I'm pretty sure most people have heard. I accepted a job at R.A. Long High School in my hometown. It's actually my rival school growing up. But hey, you know, as an adult, you're willing to go and work with the community that wants you. I'm going to be teaching high school social studies and coaching football there. A really great school. literally, I keep telling people, like, I told Mr. Ramsey, if the middle school turned into a high school as far as avid and culture, it would be Ari Long. And when I've talked with people that have interviewed me, they said your school sounded like a mini Ari Long. So, like, you know what I mean? It seems like a really great place for me to go for where I'm at professionally. It's great. I'll be really close to my dad, which is kind of the big reason for us trying to get closer to home. My dad got really ill last year, and is still, kind of, he's better, but just not great. So we're trying to get back closer to home. So if you need to reach out to me, email me and I can give you my new email, my new district. If you don't talk to me before then, you can always email Turner, and Turner will for sure, or Frost, or Stoddard,
Yep.
or Neff. There's a handful of people at the high school and the middle school that know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
We haven't quite figured out how to make a strong enough Barker signal to shine in the sky, but we're working on it.
I feel like it'd be cool. That'd be something awesome. So, hey, first off, and I've told you and stuff like that, but I congratulations again. Like, I think this is so awesome. It's good for your family. It's good for your career. Like, you're moving where you want to go, and that's awesome. And Quincy will miss you a ton. I know I'll miss you a ton. My portable mate, right? My penthouse mate, out back, and just bouncing ideas off you and stuff like that. And I know I always can. So but I appreciate it, and everything. You befriended me like right when I moved here, and I thought that was awesome. And it's something, we're gonna be lifelong friends. So thank you again. Yeah, and such is life, guys and gals that are watching too, right? Like that, I'm gonna tell you right now, same as I tell people when I talk about colleges and stuff like that, like the people you want to be friends with are the people you're gonna make the effort to be friends with, and that's one of the biggest things, right? Like you're gonna carry out those relationships that you want to, the people you want to spend time with. So, yeah, I don't even know. So end of the school year. Be on the lookout. We got a couple things coming up. So one, we're gonna post tomorrow. Basically, what we talked about, we did a rundown of like a tic-tac-toe board of just making sure you have everything done, and that you're looking forward to summer. Two, we're gonna do a final review day, a chance for everyone to kind of earn that A in history. We're making Kahoots that are year long, but I mean, get on, hang out with people, and play. We haven't decided if they're gonna be like all 8th grade in one Kahoot, or if they're going to be split up by classes. Still, we haven't made that decision yet. But both for 8th and 7th grade. Be on the lookout, 8th graders, for promotion video. So we're trying to put together something for you guys. Not sure when it's going to get released yet. Just be on the lookout on the district, or not the district, the school, Quincy Middle School Facebook page. Miss Putnam is putting a lot of effort into it. And a lot of other people kind of like behind the scenes are working really hard. So be on the lookout. Hopefully we'll have that released by the end of the week. And lastly, continue to turn into Turnbark time, right? We're going to be here, and we have decided, like we said, we got a contract extension for infinity, and it's going to make us billionaires. So don't worry, we're still going to teach. But I mean, nice last for content one. So, anything else, bud?
No. Hopefully you guys appreciate. I give you it's a short little video for promotion. It's some sage words. They're Mr. Barker originals, just like in your advisory curriculum. Yeah. A little bit of Barker poetry. I don't know if I performed it as well as I could have, but it's easier to talk to Turner like this than it is to talk and look at yourself on camera. Yeah. If you guys have ever tried to, you guys hate a lot of you don't like your picture being taken. If you, as a teacher, even if we talk a lot like we do, you still don't like to see yourself on film.
And by the way, sorry, Barker was the elected speaker that you guys chose. So out of I think I had like 60 some votes of you that filled out the Microsoft form. Barker won the teacher elected speaker, and I thought that was really appropriate for this being his last year. So again, we're hoping to have that done this week and put up, so that way you guys can watch it over and over again and stuff like that. Yeah. Until next time, I'm Turn.
I'm the Bark.
And we're gonna be here a long time. Good night, everybody.
Be excellent.
I can't even top that. We're going to end on that. So, good night, guys.
Bye-bye.